What is up, everybody? So it is time for either Salem or Agartha. We're gonna leave it up to chat. If you don't mind Lost, if you can make a poll, we'll just vote, and whatever wins, we'll go with that. I think they're both gonna be a pain in the butt. I think the Ruler Demon Pillar is gonna be an absolute nightmare in Agartha, but I think the Demon Pillar, which of course is an assassin, and Abigail will be hard in Salem, so no easy rights here. But let's see. How we get that poll? Let me. We have foe items. Nope. Hey, Omega Beast, thank you for the sub. For 1 year. Jesus, I can count.
そろそろクエストに戻る。新生ダビッチちゃんの素敵な工房にようこそ。マナプリズムと交換？用意したかまだ見てる。
I'm really trying to decide what to level. I gotta be, yeah, music is a little loud. I gotta be really careful here. So for Lost Belt 3, what's left of it, I don't think I need to level anything. I just need skill ranks. What would be good for Abigail? And that kind of thing. So we have Darius now. Like the Ruler Pillar and things like that. I'm not sure like how I want to approach Abigail. Abigail's going to be so hard though because we have no way of counterclassing. It's impossible with 1 to 3 stars. I mean, all the really important stuff we have leveled. I'm trying to think if there's like niche stuff. So, Star Bomb stuff, we got Black Bart. That's actually not a bad one to level at this point. Black Beer as well is an okay option. I honestly do need to level Sanson eventually just because debuff clear. And then there's Fergus. I think Black Bart actually might be our next one though. Just because of the kind of niche support he can give. Medusa's okay, but we don't like need her. She'd be helpful for farming, and having a stun is certainly good. And she'd be good for what's her face, Demeter, so she's not a bad level up, but I'm leaning towards Black Bart. Just because he can allow for some easy crits, and sometimes that's really good. There's Caligula for like normal card damage, but we have Mori. His niche is good though sometimes with his NP. It's very, very hard to get his NP with these restrictions though. CEs are a big part of that. Honestly, Paris makes sense because we don't have like any good Pierce and Vulnerability options for the most part. Yep, it's probably Paris. I think we're gonna have to use Paris for Ibuki as well because you can't bring a craft essence with Pierce and Vulnerability. Oh boy, that's a problem. Oh boy, is that a problem. That's gonna suck. Yep, I think it's probably Paris. So we're not gonna need him for a while. But he's got buff removal, blah blah blah. It just makes sense. Like he's very, so yeah, I think he's next. He's easy to level too. And we're sitting on all these archer foe items that we can't give to anybody, so that's not so bad. Also, Lost, are you here? Because if he's not, I'll have to make the poll myself, which takes a second, but it looks like the people want Agartha though. I think people want to see the Megalos Columbus fight, I'm assuming. That's the one everyone remembers, even though, I'm telling you, for this account, the Ruler Pillar is going to be a bigger problem, I think. I know, I could be wrong. A poll for Agartha or Salem. Seems a little split, but I think Agartha's gonna win, so we'll find out. Yeah, both the Ruler Pillar and Abigail I'm worried about.
そしてアポロン様も増えました。お手玉できますね。
Okay, his mats are not really a problem. Okay, poll is up. Vote away. Tell you, the second I get gold caster gems, though, we're going back to Lost Belt 3. Yeah, it looks like Agartha is winning. You know, you fight Pinth a couple of times. I don't remember the fight super well. I remember she quick charges a lot, and her normal card damage is crazy high, but she only gets 2 actions per turn. I think she's debuff immune for most of it. The whole reason you use Paris over Robin is just when you need Pierce and Vulnerability instead of Sure Hit. That's like the whole thing. If Sure Hit's good enough, then generally Robin is just better. There are some exceptions though. There's some weird boss gimmicks here and there. But you can also use them both. Oh, and if maybe you have Scatty, right? You might have Scatty, but you don't have Tam or Castoria or anything crazy like that for art units, so you're just better with quick teams, so that can definitely be a thing. So it's not like he doesn't have uses. I just think it's weird to keep making archers that are so similar to Robin instead of just like... It's not like there's not other ways to make a good DPS archer, like holy crap. Man, his mats are cake though. Yeah, we probably will kill Megalos first. That's just the smart way to go about it generally. That's not always true though. Just depends. Can't believe I'm leveling Paris, but it does make sense. I think Paris, Black Bart, those are probably the next 2, and then maybe then Caligula. We're starting to get to the point though where most of what we need we've got. It's really just skill ranks. That's almost the entire thing now. It's good to have some niches covered though. Like Sanson makes sense, especially when you're having to fight at neutral and the enemy is evil. He's an okay, and if there's debuffs, then he's really okay. So Sanson actually, we're getting to the point where he makes sense. Honestly, I'm so weak against debuffs. Maybe Sanson's next, actually. He didn't kill Achilles in this form. He killed him as an adult and all that. And normally, actually, he doesn't kill him. It's just the wound from him leads to his death. But he gets summoned in kid form because Apollo's decree. Okay, well that's our final ascension, but we're pretty much out of XP, so I'll worry about the rest of that later. That's good though. I think he will be useful to us. I mean, we're absolutely going to have to use him for Ibuki. I can't even imagine. Ibuki's going to be a big fucking problem because the way you deal with that boss is either using a craft essence with Pierce and Vulnerability or summoning a friend Sherlock or Calamity Jane or something like that, right? So that's going to be a problem. Alright, let's see. What won the poll? I think it was Agartha. Yeah, it was. Okay. That is this one? Alright. I want to say Agartha has a lot more filler, so this might be annoying, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, right. I need to slot my 3 stars. Hold on. I'm in the middle of the hunting quest on my main. Thankfully, I can 3-turn it quite easily. Let me just, bash some buttons here. I'll set up the team though while I have Mordred and Arthur murder everything. I'll summon storage support just to filler here. Berserker. So your top picks against Berserkers nowadays are pretty much Ku, Ushi, Robin. You know, Billy and Babbage is up there now too. Ushi's fucking great now though. Holy crap. She really showed that off on that last boss in Shinjuku because, or Shinjuku or whatever the hell it's called, I don't normally do that at neutral, right? I normally do berserkers, but she works, so that was crazy. I was really impressed with that. I think we might do Robin though, or both. Do both. Nah, we'll do Ushi. Double Ushi is just so funny because of the star bomb nonsense. Don't really want George though because he'll cancel out their good star absorb. We can probably bring Angra. I don't think this is going to be too tough. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, my main account is in loading screen hell now. I wonder if anybody's happy about today's hunting quest just because it's chains. But other than that, it's not that useful. I've really never needed chains though. It's never been a problem for me. Not enough units that... I've had a few units that use them, but just not enough to like offset the amount you get for free anyway. Okay, my 3 stars are up. That took forever. Nah, Hades is definitely not the most decent god. People always say that stuff, but he does all kinds of shitty stuff all the time. Just depends on the story. You know, you can cherry pick stories to make a lot of the gods look bad or good. But there's quite a few Greek gods that are like not the main pantheon, right? But that aren't that bad, and it's because they didn't get that many stories about them, so they didn't have any takes, and they just happened to, you know, not be so bad. Oh, just it? Okay. Yeah, bring back the proofs. Yeah, just do proof for every day. That would be fucking awesome. Let me think. That's the one with the danger tag. I think I'll be 2 NPs to kill it no matter what I do, so... Just gonna focus on NP gain. Now imagine her with an actual craft essence that like boosts her damage. Wouldn't that be something? That didn't quite go the way I wanted it to. Probably should have waited to taunt on Leonidas until he had his art card. Not only would he taunt again, but he'd make a bunch of stars. Crap, I didn't get my NP. Super close. Buff's gonna wear off. Here goes. I probably should like cast him on turn 2 just to be safe instead of casting him on turn 1 like that. Oh my god, that's the one that gets 2 actions per turn. I mean, they normally do. Normally the one to that corner is the one that goes first, but that other one had the danger tag, so that's why I was doing it that way. Man, we could have had 2 more attack buffs and 1 more quick buff each. Because their attack buffs buff each other. Yeah, we would have killed it here, for sure. Boy, I tell you, I'm gonna have to do some serious testing when I make an updated 3-star tier list video. But I tell you, Ushi's she's going to be pretty high. I mean, she already is high on it, but man, she is really just like, if the thing is just how well she does at neutral, like when you can't counterclass and stuff, like how well she's performing. That really shows how good she is. And then when she is counterclassing, get out of here. David is the big competition, though. David's the hard one to dethrone, but I don't know, man. She's pretty good. And she dies, but you know, that was more of my fault than anything else. Might kill here if we get lucky. Yep, got it, okay. Everyone crit, fine. She was on the highest tier, but she wasn't the highest in that tier, so. Right now, it's pretty steep competition between David, Ku, and Uchi, I would say. And still 100 face, I gotta say 100 face, no joke. Because Ku, I would say if you're just straight nuking something, you're probably gonna want Uchi, especially because of the crit bomb. But his cleanup and survivability is just, it's so good, even if it isn't neutral, right? It's so good, and we can see it. Anytime we're fighting an assassin boss, Ku is the one that gets the most value, not any of the fucking casters. So that's a huge point, you know, showing how good Ku is. And, you know, he can just solo a lot of stuff and clean up a lot of stuff in a lot of scenarios. Yeah, Darius is really good too now. He's not quite up there though with Uchi and Ku and David, I don't think. He is really good now though, like he's very useful. But yeah, it's gonna be, wild. But yeah, again, 100 faces. No joke. Imagine if we could use that unit right there, or that, let us melt here. Like use that for Abigail. That'd make things a bit easier. Seems to be the same style of stage here. Guess we will do. I don't know though. George with the. Do David. So he has higher star absorb as well, but. Okay, game. Don't give me an amazing Uchi hand on turn 1. Right? Give it to me on turn 2 or 3. That way I'm not so tempted to cast my buffs on turn 1. That's why I haven't made an update to the 3-star video yet. I'm waiting for them to add some more low stars. Because they haven't added any, literally they've added none since my last video. They just buffed them. So that's not enough to get me to make a video yet. I'm waiting for them to add some. Look at them giving me good stuff on turn 1. Okay, we'll do this one, but we won't do the star bomb. Although we're definitely wasting our quick up at that, but whatever. The last low star they added was, I guess, Nobukatsu. I guess he is the one that would be added to the list, but the 3 stars anyway, it's Ricky Boy. And other than Ricky Boy, it's Nobukatsu, and that's it. So, and Ricky Boy was on the previous tier list video, so there's no new additions other than Nobukatsu, and then just, you know, people have been bumped. Probably should have done the Brave thing. Can you stop hitting the same Uchi over and over again? Like, goddamn. Oh, I see. This is only one wave, and they just keep doing a bunch more. I knew there was reinforcements, but I thought there was a wave too, but there is not. That changes things a bit. Damn. Figured that would happen now. Alright, these are the last ones. That's a big boy. Thankfully, we have most of our buffs. We don't have our quick up, but... I need to get Alex to 10-10-10. That's gonna be very useful for some harder fights down the road. Yeah, Nobukashi's pretty good. Even without Nobu, he's fine. He's not like amazing, but he's got niche use. And it's gotta be the right situation where you need to taunt and buster support on a budget team. But it happens. He's alright. And if you are using Nobu, like especially Berserker or Avenger Nobu, then he's very, very good. But that's kind of the point. Damn, they didn't kill him. Oh, they didn't need my quick up then. Thank you, boy. Damn. Well, good thing we have Ku. That should keep us safe here. If I somehow failed this stage and had to do it again, I just wouldn't use Ushi's quick up like I did. We had plenty of time to build our NP. Oof. Angra got this. Amazing that this Uchi is still alive. Coming in pretty clutch there. Not expecting the board to have that much health there. That's why I put Ku in the back though, is just in case I derp something up. See, the technical rule, and I said this a long time ago, it's 3-star or lower, but you say 1 to 3-star because it's more catchy, but we had to change the rules to 3-star or lower because Angra is technically a 0-star. He has the stats of a 2-star and the team cost of a 2-star and all of that, but technically, you know, that they've never said that like something of the same rarity has to have the same team cost and all those other things. You know, he doesn't actually have stars, so he is technically a 0-star. But he does have the stat spread and all of the stuff, you know, of a 2-star. So essentially he's a 2-star, and you know, technically it's 3-star or lower. The title is 1 to 3-star because clickbait, right? And like you don't need to adjust your entire title that makes it ultimately less palatable just to accommodate one fucking stupid unit, right? Like that's dumb. I am bothering. Here I am calling Angra stupid. We give Bedivere ley line. Okay. Either that or we like double Darius. Game breaking, yeah, if only. I didn't really need to reset the entire team there. Alright. Awkward how they did this. Expecting David to have a bad time, but I'm so sad that the guy that posted the original Mori comment deleted it. That was such a gem of a comment, man. It's because everyone scared him off. Like all the replies, there were so many replies giving him shit, and so obviously, you know, just got sick of getting shit, so got rid of it. That was such an amazing comment. Thankfully, lots of people saved it. It still exists in that form. It's immortal, if you will. Come on, quicker art up, quicker art up. I should've used. Why did I not use Golden Rule? Why? What am I doing? That was his 2 NP gain cards and his extra attack. Like, you're not gonna find a better turn in the next 3 turns to use his NP gain up. I'm so smart, chat. Not using David's first skill because the enemy was going to die. And he's not going to live long enough for it to come off cooldown, so... spoilers, by the way. Oh, there's only 2 waves. Let's see. Dude, if I just use Golden Rule on Darius, we're looking good here. I'm hoping he gets attacked that way. Although they only have 1 hit count, so... Yeah. Got some NP off of it there. We'll get it here. You know, I could have just used better battery skill, but... Look, they got defense up. That's gonna save them, right? Darius is gonna give Bedivere Buster Resist down and Defense down and Overcharge, which makes his Buster up bigger. That is some nice value right there. And then Bedivere is giving Darius the NP up, which is a lot less, but it's still something. Look at that, defense down and Buster Resist down. Very nice. An extra buff roll. So much bomb. And that's with the enemy having a defense buff. So, dislikes actually do something on YouTube comments. They do not show, so like, a comment can't go negative, it won't take away from the likes that it gets, but it affects its ranking. So for example, let's say you have 2 comments that both have 10 likes, but one of them has no dislikes and the other one has like 1,000, it'll be ranked way lower. So that's the one effect it has, which isn't even a very good effect because that's ultimately censorship, right? It's kind of like Reddit. The whole like, you know, upvote, downvote thing is not a good way to promote, you know, conversation or seeing, you know, people's opinion. It's a way of the most popular opinion being the only one that's seen. That's not that useful a lot of the time. And especially in Reddit's case, because in the long run, not the popular opinions, the most popular opinion becomes more and more prevalent, and the other opinions get more and more pushed out, and as time goes on, a lot of times it ends up leaving you in kind of a circle jerk scenario. I guess I'll do the same thing, exact same class setup here, so. I seriously need Bont and Ongra. Both Mothman and potentially the Ruler Pillar, we'll see. I don't know what the plan is there. Maybe just Mori again. You know, one of these days I should make an account. The problem is, you know, I don't have the free time to farm on a lot of accounts. I can only farm on like 1 or 2 accounts at a time, tops. But one of these times we should try a gimmick where, you know, we're allowed to roll the gacha. You know, we're still be free to play, but we can roll as much as we like, and that kind of thing. And you do a stupid gimmick like French only, or English only, or female only, male only, or robot only. That'd be like impossible, by the way. But you know, something like that. That'd be kind of funny. Well, that'd be really hard to do if it wasn't an account you were super active on. You'd have to be so active on it and get every command code that pops up. You know, like a new Star Bomb CE is gonna pop up in summer, most likely, right? You'd have to make sure you get it. You couldn't miss things, right? And that's not really good for an ult account, so. Bonk. I mean, she's pretty much Frankenstein's bride, made in reverse order and a bit more robotic just because fate. I would have liked to put the quick card last, but I wasn't sure I'd be able to get it off, so. I've seen a lot of people make ult accounts to summon their new favorite or their old favorite or whatever from their main account, and they just try to solo as many bosses as possible when they're applicable or not applicable. And when it's really tough, they just try, they switch around command codes, they play around with CEs, they keep trying until... And sometimes it doesn't work, like, well, damn it, that didn't work. But they try to find as many things as possible to beat. And that can work pretty well when your favorite is, like, you know, a really strong unit. Like, Saber Nero has done that with Melt several times. And he's actually done some pretty crazy shit with Melt. He soloed Mothman with Melt, right? What the fuck is that? An NA Melt, by the way, not JP Melt. I will say, because on JP, you probably would be too shocked that you could do that, but on NA, I was like, damn. And he didn't even have a good gut CE. Like, his account only had like a basic one. Like, I think he only had the Nero Fest 1 gut CE, which has no side effect. It's just guts, right? And that's not nearly as good as some of the other ones, so. I should have cast that there. I should have waited for Darius to lose his evade. The only way that was a good decision is if Darius gets attacked twice. Which he did not. So I went to complete ways. Might look weird casting that on just a whatever trash mob. I don't want to just get through clean here. Actually, I haven't fully tested it yet, but I think Ku can solo Gwen. It's gonna require a limit broken Yang CE, and it's gonna require getting very good luck on the 2 turns that your taunts are gonna die. And it's going to require very good luck throughout it. But I am pretty sure he can do it. Because without using the Yang CE, without even having taunt walls at all, which is a huge negative, especially for Ku, he got to about half. I think a little bit past half. So again, no taunt walls, no Yang CE. He got to like half. So the question is just 2 extra turns with your taunt walls and the Yang CE, and then maybe just some really good luck. Can that equal the other half? And it might not. So I can tell you for sure, I know for a fact, 'cause I just know the game really well, I saw Ku's performance there, he can definitely get close. He can definitely get close. I'm not 100% sure though that he can actually do it, but we will see. Once the rerun comes out, I'll grab the Yang CE and we'll find out. It's really nasty though because you're getting double smacked, right? You got just the fact that triple smacked really, because it's very hard for your health bar to buy you even one turn of survival. Normally it does, but because it's Gwen and you're a fucking Lancer, it's very unlikely for your health bar to buy you a turn. And then Gwen's hit count's not all that high, so you have less NP gain, and then the damage resistance is, you know, a big hit to your DPS, but then you're a Lancer fighting a Saber, so you have almost no DPS to speak of, so it's pretty nasty, but Ku is just really nutso nowadays, so... Now imagine if Darius has a CE that gives him no benefit to damage, none. It has no offense on it whatsoever, no attack up, no NP up, nothing. And its attack stat is like, you know, 400. So he barely has anything equipped, so it's a shame. But he's still doing pretty nice damage in these kinds of setups. If I did have a normal CE, it'd actually be really nice. Thankfully, there's ways to deal with the skill seal, for the most part, because you don't need the Atlas cooldown reduction, or the debuff clear for anything else, so that helps. But the fight's gonna go a while, right? Because Ku's a long run unit anyway, and then, encounter class and everything. I'm gonna have to find, though, the best command codes possible, and that's gonna take a while to test. I have to find the ones that have the absolute best peak value. Not even the best average value, you have to have the best peak value. That is going to take a while to figure out. It's going to be an endeavor. But yeah, it might be doable. Gonna laugh my ass off if it is. Why do they gotta pull the question marks? Let me think. That could be probably Pent. We've been fighting Amazons this whole time, so I think it's Pent. So I think I stick with Bedivere. We just go really ham on Sabers. Case of emergency. I can't wait for Darius to get an animation update. I hope they use Extella Link as at least some kind of inspiration there, because if there's... I don't like Extella Link very much. Let me stress this. It has a very shallow story, and it has a very shallow, you know, take on a lot of things, and its gameplay is shallow, you know, very shallow game. But, their Darius animations are really awesome, so... One of these days, I keep saying that on my stream, I need to have, like, Extella Link booted up on my other monitor, and one of these days, just when I say that, like, just switch over, already have Darius booted up in a level on, like, at the pause screen, and then just show it off real fast, and then go back to FGO. Okay, it's 2 waves, so these are here to give you NP, essentially. Now, I realize Darius looking like a coward. It was you know, we've lost, we should retreat. There's no, you know, anime and movies like to do the whole, you know, fight to the last man, heroic, that's just dumb, right? Like that, if you have the ability, okay, we've lost this fight, we should, like, you know, regroup and try again in the future. That's just the smart thing to do. It's also, if you're a leader, that's what you owe your people if you're trying to prevent them from being conquered, so... Like, there is no actual benefit to just dying like a moron, right? That doesn't do anything for anybody. Now, there are circumstances where there's no way you could retreat, or that your whole objective is maybe to buy time or whatever. So there are times where it makes sense to go down with the ship, if you will. But a lot of times that's just not the case. So. I was really hoping they actually wouldn't kill there. So that's really good for me.
どうとはこういうものだ。脱行、すなわち解放の時。まったく。
Watch this Hans Stargen. Hans land Stargen buff on yourself.
いい時代だ。資料集めにはことかかる。損なうたびに思い出すがいい。メルヘン・マイネス・レーベンス。カーレン。
He did land the Stargen buff on himself. But he basically landed nothing of value on Bedivere in the middle. Let me guess, you only have to beat her first health bar. They're such cowards at letting you have a fun boss fight early on. I don't know why, because back in the day, Gwaine was in chapter 4, for God's sakes. But yeah, they don't really do that kind of stuff anymore. We can probably just do 400k right now. Well, it's 450. It's 57k is no joke, so maybe not. Especially because we did not get the attack buff. So let's move on. Okay, let's see what we get here. That crit at the end, even though it's a quick card, still be decent. I don't think it's gonna be quite enough. He had Hans, I think with Hans' attack buff it might be though. It's gonna be really close. No, I think he got it. Yeah, okay. Nice big juicy quick crit there. We would not have needed the quick crit though with Hans' buff. I think our second health bar had the exact same amount of health. I think I saw at least 457 again. I don't know about the change. Well, Pins didn't do so good there. Didn't even get to attack. Is this the same thing again? We're getting a lot of Bedivere value. Imagine if you got to work with Bedivere in this story instead of like Kid Fergus and the Trap. Guys, the purpose for the whole purpose for this account has been a lie. Illuminati confirmed. I did all of this, all these excuses for why this account exists, all this work, all the resets, all that failure. Remember all those failures on Landling and Horspindo? We failed that stage more than any other, by a lot. Like way more than Lee or Lee's students. We were stuck on that way longer, over and over. All of that was so I could give myself FP. Have you noticed anytime I've been stuck on a stage, I'm normally summoning myself over and over? See? All a scam. I don't even know what we use that FP for. Okay, there's 3 waves this time. Focus on killing then, and I might need to MP in the second wave and then like go around the wheel. We shall see. Reported, kicking my fucking head, yep. Yeah, we did give Zaw FP for Mori, but Zaw's just in on it. He's on the payroll. Don't you see? Alright, FGO. Nice overkill bonus there. Feel like I should have gotten at least some Han's NP game. Yep, see, I had a feeling we were gonna need somebody's NP on wave 2. This turn though. Do I use the NP up? I'm gonna say no.
我が力のお任せを我が魂砕いて走れ銀の流星デッドエン
So I'll threaten to spill the beam. Buzz really KP though in real life right now. Also his time zone is fucked. But he's a good lad. Do I defense up here? Yeah. 2 defense ups is pretty significant. Okay. This looks weird, but I want NP gain, and then if we crit next turn, that could be good. I don't like this turn. I'm worried he's gonna kill somebody. It just took too long to get Han's sleepy. Got like some defense buffs and healed there, I'd be feeling a lot better. Woo, boy! This is not good. I don't know if I can kill him this turn either. We can Buster Chain, but I don't see that doing 48k. Oh no, we've dawdled too much. It's because it just took way too long to have Han's buff. Wait, no damage engagement the whole time. Like, we need to have Han's heal have gone up 3 times by now. We're gonna need to have enough for like another hit. And we could have defense buff. Back Bedivere, back. Oh, okay, that's fine too. So greedy not doing the Buster Chain, so I'm trying to get that NP. I think I may regret this. God damn it! Why nobody crit? Fuck! We had 50 and 60% crit right there too. God damn it. Oh my god, we dawdled way too much there. Okay. Okay, game. Dude, the value we just lost. The fucking value that we just lost. Holy crap. Not a good day for Hanako there. Well, lucky for us, you don't fight Pentagon. I kind of wanted to reset though, just to like play that better, because God, we could play that so much better. But we're pretty safe here. Maybe I should have just done Buster, Hard Buster, because I don't know if we're gonna squeeze MP. Killing that one because I want the overkill for the NP gain. My NP should one shot to 118. God, we let Bedivere down so hard. That was awful. I'm getting so greedy there. Well, we don't have our attack up up.
黄金剣起動準備
Bedivere just wanted to step aside to give Caesar a moment, trying to give him a chance to show off.
あ？何？今の全力？
Hans just fucked up. Hans just slipped on a banana peel and his pin fell in his eye, and you know, and he ran off a cliff. Well, pretty obvious what to bring here. Kind of boring, but it's so good. So, like, what do you want from me? We'll do a switch Mysticode and throw in Mozart on an NP turn. Actually, we'll use Hans. He'll die, but he'll give us some like initial NP gain, and that's fine. Man, I need to get a Hohenheim up. He'd be a great unit for what we're doing here. He's just good, period. Yeah, Kiara only shows up in Han Stage 1. They actually patched that, which I think that was actually a great decision because, you know, the Kiara thing is only in CCC, and some people don't like Kiara, and they want Hans for Hans, not Kiara, and so now you have like the option, and that's way better. That was actually a lot of people wouldn't think of it that way, but I think that cause seriously, it's not a canonical thing that if you summon Hans you get Kiara. It's literally not a thing. And some people don't like Kiara, and it's kind of annoying if you had to deal with that. But yeah, it used to just be random, but now it's just in Stage 1.
Merry bad end だな。ゲルダの涙よ、心を溶かせ。
任される。台なし。戦いは勝ったり。
Always with the crits.
安い安い。おいちょうだい。
Come on, crit with the art card. Give me that overkill. Damn it. There was such greatness to be had there. And if I got, oh man, I would have NP'd if I had gotten it there. We could have like looped really easy.
すなわち解放の時。いい時代だ。資料集めには事欠かん。
I don't even remember your existence stages with Kiara. Not the one with the really stupid NP. I remember one of them. It's like she has 2 NP animations, and one of them is like so much build up and literally nothing happens. That is one of the worst NPs in the game, and that is not because I don't like Kiara. It's just that was so boring. I want to say it's her Stage 3. It's like that was such a bad NP. Like, nothing happens. Like, there was no... It's so bad. Okay, what do we do here? I'm gonna NP, just because... Do I use the art up, though? We don't need it, but it would help my NP gains. I don't think so. That's the wrong 100 phase. Yeah, not stage 3. Stage 3 is awful. Like, that's the mermaid one, isn't it? That one looks terrible. The colors are off. It looks tacky. It looks like a really bad Halloween costume for a mermaid. More crits, of course. How is Hans at higher health and 100 face when 100 face is counter-classing? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Should have brought a Rosh if I'd known this stage was kind of set up the way it is.
Merry bad end, done. Time for a completely unnecessary NP gain. I might save the crits just because the other 100 phase does not need to crit to get her NP, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Shame we didn't have an art card on the other 100 face because she did have the double art up and all that good stuff. So now would be a fine time for crits, but we have crits anyway, so not really necessary. I'm just gonna do it to remove... There's no RNG though, we'll get her NP, so it doesn't matter. It's just, Mozart might die and never use his third skill. 100 phase ends up making a lot of stars just because, you know, art was just down that much crit count, and then she has Sergeant up, so her art cards actually can make a lot of stars. It's kind of funny. If you give her star generation command codes, then you really can get some stars going. In a solo, you can make like 44 stars on 100 face with just art cards. It's nonsense. Look, that right there, that made quite a lot of stars because the enemy had double art resist down and we had Sergeant up, so those things combined were pretty significant. Figured he was gonna die eventually. Holy crap! The amount of times they have crit that 100 face is just like, what the fuck, dude? And you know, middle 100 face has barely been touched. Nonsense. That one's not going to be as good because we had no art resist down. We still made a chunk of stars though. Trying to show off Sergeant here. Not bad. They'd gotten the other attack off, they would have done pretty well there. It is so funny if you do like MLBK scope Fuma, because he can show up from the back row and just do all three of his skills and just debuffs everywhere, then NP even more debuffs. Like he can just kind of send the enemy into the Shadow Realm there out of nowhere. Hey, Riders again. What is my Hohenheim? 1-1-1, and I haven't done his upgrade for his third skill, so it doesn't have the NP gain. That is unfortunate. I'll have to remember to work on that. Not the bees. Only 2 waves. Normally I'd use his NP turn 2, so if people taking damage to heal those middle waves, but Hans could die at any moment with these things, so... attack buff or whatever. Probably will not carry those buffs over into the boss waves though. That's probably not gonna work the way I want it to. Yeah, if we had our second skill maybe. Okay, Hans hasn't taken damage yet, so I'm trying to hold off on using his third skill. The gun from 21k. Higher chance of killing it. Yep. Coming down to the wire there, it matters. He just hates the back 100 face. Somehow Hans is unscathed. Okay, there it is. I want the stars. Nah, I'll save it. No, actually, I should have done both of their Star Gen up skills and Hans' third skill. Although we only got the 1 quick attack off because she crit. But we could have made a pretty good chunk of stars right there. Okay, I guess it's that one. Actually, I should have cast their second skills first and saw who got the art up. Whoops. Although we'll probably just NP with both. Okay, we had foresight and we knew. We're gonna overkill like a motherfucker, but oh well. You know what? I should have just done 1 NP and then 2 art cards, because I probably would have done the exact same thing, and then we could have ended with 2 NPs again next turn. But whatever. This is fancy. Yeah, but they better add Saver as a Saver, dude. If anyone's ever observed their unique extra class. If they're over here making up new classes like Moon Cancer and shit that did not exist in their own games, and fucking Foreigner and all this other bullcrap, they can fucking do Saver, and it could fit the role as reverse alter ego, so it, you know, half counters the night classes. Underface is still performing just fine, but I will say she doesn't really want to be in a circumstance where your target's pushing a lot, because the debuffs, she gets so much value from her debuffs, but if the target's dying, you're not getting to apply the art resistance to your next NP, and that really does suck for her. It's less damage, less NP gain, less star gen.
任されよはっ追い打ちちょうだい手の内を全て晒すまでも
I tell you though, between their heals and the evade is only a 5-turn cooldown for some reason. It's a lot of staying power. And while staying alive, gets a lot of NPs off too. Nah, I don't think, if they added Saber, they would add him. They're either gonna add him and make him playable, or they're just not gonna add him. They wouldn't make him just a raid boss, because he's confirmed to be summonable anyway. Like, it's not like he can't be summoned, he can be summoned. And, you know, he's normal human size, all these things. There's no way they just make him a raid boss. Like, that's not the kind of character they would do that with. Now, Ort, you know, little different. Low starting NP, but it should be okay. I think our chance at getting Saber is gonna come soon if they decide to do anything at some point with the remake of Extra. Who knows, maybe even next year they do a collab. Although I think they're gonna do Tsukihime next year, but they might do that. It's very similar to CCC collab, but they might do something like that at some point. Foreigners aren't just from space though, they're from like deep space, outer god, you know, not our solar system type of thing generally. And Ort is from our solar system. You shouldn't even have a class. Like, fucking types should not have a class. That doesn't make any sense. You know, you know, the class system is pretty unique to the Fate side of things, and like the Grail and the Grand system, and that, you know, it's absurd to have the type actually have a canonical class, because they're not something you summon, they're not tied to the world summoning system or any of that. It just doesn't make any sense. If you are going to give them a class, they should have like null class, and they've done that before, or they should have just type. They should just be type or ultimate one, right? There's no reason for them to, you know, be shoehorned into a system that has nothing to do with them. But Ort is probably from the Ort Cloud, or he's from Mercury. But he's probably from the Ort Cloud, and for some reason went to Mercury or got tangled up with Mercury. That whole, you know, type Mercury question mark thing. But yeah, it's pretty likely I'd say he's from the Ort Cloud, and it was probably spelled O-R-T instead of O-O-R-T, just because, you know, they spelled Medusa like USA, some nonsense. I can't even remember how they spelled it. Medusa used to be spelled so insanely. You had Attila, or Altria and Artoria, right? They could make their minds up on how to spell it and that kind of shit.
So,
Jesus, I should have brought default. I didn't think there was gonna be all these berserkers. Maybe there'd be some, but not ideal. Always with the crits. Types aren't only in notes, but they're really only detailed much in notes. Although really, they're detailed more in notes character material book than they are in actual notes, to be honest. But, you know, they've been mentioned again in Fate Strange Fake and a little bit in FGO. And actually, I guess they're in Tsukihime as well. Not a lot, but I mean, that's what Typhoon is. You know, Arc is like prototype type Earth, not actually full-blown type Earth, though. That's like a thing, and they haven't really explained it. But Earth is like incapable of making a type, and it's tried to. Now, the way they've talked about it, it's not really clear if Earth can't make a type because, oh, drat, it never worked out because of those pesky kids. You know, if it wasn't for you pesky kids and your dog, I would have made a type. or if there's some reason why it just can't, right? Like there's some system in place, or you know, Type Moon is giving it the middle finger and laughing at it because it, you know, cursed it or something and it can't make a type. They're not clear about it, but it's tried to make a type. It never pans out for some reason. But yeah, it's just not clear if the reason is because you know, bad luck, or if there's some like big reason why it can't happen. I'm not sure they know, to be honest. We talked about that for a long time ago. Of course, I mean, God. Yeah, no, that other planet named Earth. You know, guys, when you take a left at Albuquerque and then you go straight past the Milky Way, you got that other Earth, you know, that's really big in the Natsu-verse, right? And it's got its own type Earth, you know, and I wouldn't want to conflate these things or anything. How do I not have my freaking NP yet? Well, I guess we do have very little starting NP. Please don't die, Robin. I thought about stunning here, but it's like, there's only one left, so he's less actions per turn. 19, fuck, he's gonna die to the dot. Nope. Oh, what a champ. What a hero. Because see, if he died to the dot, I wouldn't get to take my turn. So I don't get free cards. My turn right now is free gain, right? Everyone's always worrying about 3 turning, which doesn't mean anything, right? Like, if you get a free turn like this, you might as well. It's free stuff, you know, free stars, you know, you name it. But if he died to the dot there, he would have taken his turn and done damage to me or whatever, and then I wouldn't have gotten the one benefit of, you know, getting some free NP gain or stars gain. Or, my turn would have been skipped, essentially, which would not be great. But no, Earth has never had a type. The Arc is close to being a type, and like the whole Archetype Earth thing, like it's type-ish, but it's not a type, and it's certainly not as strong as one, not even close. But it's like it was like an attempt was made, right? Oh, I do love when Mozart gets to land the art buff on 2 units that both are gonna NP. Imagine using Uriel right here, and that would do fucking nothing. But they're all our times though. Uriel is super impactful, but this is definitely not one of them. She's actually one of the worst archers you can use when you are fighting something like this. A deck doesn't have a gender or is female, because she just has pretty bad damage and no survival or utility for the team. But when her stuff does work, then you get lots of oomph on a 3-star. I can't use Uriel for this fight. Man, that's 220k with a freaking 3-star craft essence. Not bad. Well, there's a lot of tiers to like Uriel's effectiveness. So you've got males that she's counterclassing and that can be charmed, and she will do very well there, right? Just like best, you're gonna get there pretty much for a DPS. Then you've got things that she counterclasses but cannot be charmed. Still good. It depends on the style of fight, because sometimes you're going to need stall or survivability or deal with gimmicks. She doesn't really have anything to deal with gimmicks if she can't charm. But still good, because still very big nuking, so still good. And then you've got neutral, but she can charm, and also needs to be male. Oh god, there's more tiers. You have like counterclassing, but they're not, you know, female or no gender. But there's literally no reason to ever use her in those circumstances. Anyway, but yeah, then you've got neutral, but they're male, and you can charm, and she still has quite big damage. Now, if there's a proper counter class, like let's say they are a caster, so you could use Ushi, she's definitely not going to do as well as Ushi. Like, no way. And then if they're not charmable, then it's just absolutely not worth it. But you might be fighting an Avenger. So Ushi's not counterclassing, or, you know, Ku wouldn't be counterclassing, or you know, whatever the fuck, and but at least she's getting her anti-male bonus, and if she is charming, then it's great. And then you've got stuff like that are Avengers that you can't charm, then it's getting a little iffy at that point. Generally you won't use her for that, but it's still pretty good nuking, so sometimes that works. But yeah, then you've got all of the things that just aren't male or female, And then those, she's just, I mean, she's terrible for. I'm not exaggerating, this is not hyperbolic. She is the worst archer in the game if you are fighting just like a regular female boss, or like a giant dragon, or a giant boar, or a spriggan. Paris is better. You know, everyone is better than her. She offers you nothing. Now, you could forcibly make her good in those scenarios, because you could do like double Castoria, you know, Nero Bride Waver, all that, but you can make, you know, anything really good with those kind of supports. Obviously, if you're using Robin or whatever the fuck else, it'd be a lot better than that. But there are times, like, dude, if you're fighting a Saber and she can charm them, there is like no better low star for that. Like, no way, like, unless there's some sort of weird gimmick that counters her, but... Hey, Finn, what's up? Thank you for the 22 months, man. Man, we're old. We are old. Old channel. Anyway, let's see. So far, these stages are pretty straightforward. They haven't thrown anything meaty at us yet. More Angra, though. Ryoto Temple could be pretty good on 100 phase because she NP so often that NP up from it will apply over and over again. And a lot of times she can loot without any help. So, and Jordan, thank you for the gifted sub. I had to actually read for a second there. Thank you, I appreciate it. Jesus Christ, everyone just likes. I'm convinced everyone just likes Moriarty. That's the entire reason my channel exists. But thank you for the other gifted sub. No, wait. No, it was gifted sub, then it was free sub. Excuse me, we're getting dual-wielded here. Thanks, man. You know, the pirates here actually have, for a trash mob, they put a decent amount of work into their character model. Now, if they could just do that for all the old trash mobs, that would be swell. That's an opening hand. We'll give it to the one that we don't use the second card on. Now, actually, we have Moriarty on this account, funnily enough. Yeah, I don't know why they bobble so much, but, you know, idle animations. If you look at idle animations in a lot of video games, 3D or 2D, they generally don't make a lot of sense. They're kind of just a reason to feel like the thing isn't static, and they can look pretty dumb. Just crit for hit. Yeah, they got earbuds in, and there we go. But they look like a nice classical take on a pirate, right? And the crit, god damn it. That was basically Fergus's Buster card right there. Also, Sanson gets his human bonus against them, but not the evil bonus. But he counterclasses and gets his human bonus. So he can absolutely shred them, but he still can't loop, so wouldn't actually be better than 100 face here. Outside of if you ever fight like a really big tanky one, then he might do so much burst damage it'd be worth, but fuck, 97%, I should have cast one of my abilities there. How do I want to do this? We got 29 stars. The 100 face that can NP doesn't have any cards. That sucks. Didn't land the art up either. Guess we won't do the Mozart art up. Although we need the damage from it, but we should be able to kill anyway. They're just human and rider. They're not evil. Where the Drake Alter is a rider and evil, she's not human. So although you get to use both of his skills when you fight, because she fights with these trash mobs, when you are in those stages, you can use both of Sanson's skills. One of the only times that'll ever happen, but you can't use them on the same enemy. So you're still not getting the greatness that you might want.
さてどのバカがいい鍵盤には女神の加護が宿るものさ。
いざはっ安い安い我が軍にしてこう
She survives, but I mean, she's completely taken out of action, and it's not like the fight continued or anything. But it is kind of dumb that she survived that. That was kind of a plot contrivance, I would say. So if things had gone a little bit better, like with my peeking at the start, and like I'd used my first skill sooner, we could have won by now.
1対1と思い込んだ貴様の深く
I'll take that. Dude, that is such a thing. Oh my god, this is such a thing because of FGO. Throughout other Fate media, they just look for excuses to shove different Ascension stages in there. And it's dumb, it's so tacky. It's not like servants have some ability to transform their clothes. It's dumb, it's so dumb. Like in APOC, the book, right? When APOC was written, the book was written before FGO existed, right? And it's just, you know, start, middle, and end, and that's it. Joan of Arc never, it just randomly goes to her third stage, because that didn't even exist. It's just a made-up thing to just give you some variety, right? That's not like, oh man, when things are getting dramatic, I grow my hair even longer and everything goes white for some fucking reason. That's stupid! That makes no sense. Like, why would that happen? You know, but of course in the anime, they just, you know, shove the reason for it to be in there, even though it literally never was a thing, right? And same for Mordred. Mordred never actually was in her third stage. That never happened. If she wasn't in her armor, she was in her normal casual wear. But the anime, and they designed it, her third stage actually existed before FGO. It was designed in APOC to just show what she was wearing under the armor, which makes sense, but it was never used. And she never, like, of course not. That doesn't make any sense. But again, in the anime, they just look for any excuse to do that. And that's just been such a thing throughout the mangas, the anime and everything. They just look for reasons to shove the other Ascension stages in there. Like, oh, we're serious now, so, you know, Sanson grows the bigger shoulder pads in his third stage. It's dumb. It's so tacky and it's so forced, and it's like, it's just that's like fan service done very wrong. At least in my opinion, anyway. It doesn't like hurt. It doesn't like destroy the story or like, you know, ruin. You know, it's not that big of a crime, but it's so tacky and it's such a pointless and bad use of fan service. Very unnatural. I'm pretty sure even with it being braided, I think it still gets longer, because I think she still has a braid, and it's just so fucking long, but that's not really the point, you know. Also, she gains, like, fluff for some reason, and, you know, white stuff everywhere. Guess more 100 face, this seems to be getting the job done. I'm gonna be right back, I need to get water. Yeah, Jalter's hair goes pretty bananas in her stage 3, I think we all know that one. Speaking of Jolter, though, this door. Anyway, speaking of Jolter, will she get an animation update with this event? There's so many people that are like so hopeful. Like, I don't know, man. I'd say if she's going to be important in the event and she's going to be like a part of it in a big way, especially if she gets a rate up, then I would say absolutely. But if that's not the case, then I would say absolutely not. I think they're going to save it for, you know, the time when they want to make that money. But it could be, you know, maybe this is that time. Maybe this is when they decided to do it. 5 enemies here. Maybe too soon for me to cast that, but so Serenity, it's tough. If her animations were day 1, I would say 100% she's getting an animation update. But because her animations are a noticeable improvement over day 1, they're not amazing, but they're noticeably better than day 1, I'm not sure. I hope she gets one because she deserves it if she's getting, you know, focus right now and she's a popular unit and blah 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 blah. But the bad news is if she gets this costume and does not get an animation update, I don't think she's getting an animation update anytime soon, if ever, because then they'd have to basically give her 2 animation updates to accommodate the costume, and they're going to be very unwilling to do that. So for you Serenity fans out there, you better hope she gets an animation update. Otherwise, it's going to be dark days. But I think she has a decent shot at getting an animation update. You know, she's been in the game for a long time. She doesn't have amazing animations. She really doesn't, and she is popular. So if anything, I would say I slightly favor that I think she will get an animation update. But because, I don't know, it's hard to say because they're adding so many costumes at once. They've probably been working on those costumes for a while. You know, we don't know how the workload's been spread out. They might be like, okay, we're just gonna get these costumes done. We're not gonna do anything else, right? So maybe it's just not on in the cards, right? But hopefully she gets it. As for a buff, probably not, to be honest. I don't think they think Serenity's that far behind, but she definitely is. But I wouldn't really. Why am I not in peeing right now? There's a 48 and 37k one. I have my game buff. And it's gonna wear off. I don't know what I was thinking there. That was obviously a time to NP. Oops. Might look weird ignoring the danger one with the most health, but I want to make sure I'm looping smoothly here with target switching. They normally don't announce animation updates until the event actually drops. I mean, that happens all the time. They don't say anything about an animation update in the stream, in the lead-up news, but when it actually drops, there's an animation update. They've done that many times. And sometimes they do announce animation updates, but they also do this sometimes. They announce one animation update, and then when it comes out, there's actually another one too. They've done stuff like that, so. What gives me hope for them doing animation updates for anyone for this event is just the fact that they haven't done any in a little bit. We've had a couple events where they haven't done anything, so I'm hoping, you know, the people that they put, I would hope they have people that are dedicated to, you know, doing the art for new servants and doing costumes and doing animation updates. So hopefully that bought them some time to be working on all that, so maybe that's why, but we'll just have to see. You know, I might as well do the art up now. A single MP is going to kill it, so I might as well just do this. The only time I'm not happy with animation updates, well, one is if the animation updates are bad themselves, like they're poorly executed. But it's if it's like, you know, Merlin was kind of lame because Merlin's animations were so far above, you know, the early shitty ones, right? I mean, it was in Babylon. The animations of Babylon are completely fine. Like, he literally just had totally good animations, and then he gets an animation update. Meanwhile, you still have Mozart, Shakespeare, and all, you know, so many, you know, we still have caster balls, for fuck's sakes. You know, it's just silly, right? Like, that annoys me. I don't mind them updating units like Merlin, you know, once we get through all the day one piece of shit ones. You know, then if you want to touch up some of the, you know, kind of in the middle ones, which I don't think Merlin's even in the middle, but, you know, then that's fine. But whenever they give updates to people that just absolutely don't need it, and you have these people like, you know, Mozart and all that that are just, you know, sitting there. Yeah, Mev's was kind of bad though, and that was less to do with her needing it or not, and more to do with it was just not a good animation update, and it made her so silly. I know a lot of people, a lot of Mev fans don't like it, like especially just every time she busts her cards, it's a meme. It's a fucking meme. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's pretty lame. Like, do that in the summer form, sure. Don't do that with regular Mev. I'm not even a Mev fan, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of doing Mev dirty here. So many writer stages. That is not Fuma. Helena is actually still a pretty nice DPS caster. The whole issue with Helena is everyone thinks she should support. That's the whole thing. Everyone thinks she should support, and they think that so much, I think DW will eventually turn her into one. But she's literally a DPS first with support on the side. She has, and it's actually pretty solid support. It's not waiver or anything, but you know it's fine. And then she's a pretty nice damage caster. Like she's always been a good 4-star. Like even to this day, she's aged just fine. She keeps up with content. Yeah, she's a 4-star. She's not like one of those 4-stars that goes beyond what a 4-star normally can do. She's not Hot Wheels or, you know, Rider Kentucky or Luvia, any of that. But she's totally fine. But, you know, she'll probably get buffed at some point, because, I mean, hell, maybe this event, she is so popular and people act like she's so bad that I do think it's going to result in her getting a buff. Okay, the middle 100 face is going to get an art chain, almost guaranteed next turn. Because other 100 face still has an art card left, Hans has 3 art cards left, and she has 2 art cards left, so she's getting an art chain at some point, so she doesn't actually need Hans' skill, I don't think. I don't think anyone needs it, really. They probably just skipped it. And saved it for when the sergeant would matter. The reason people think she's bad is because we want her to be, like, on par with Waver. Right? Like, that's what they're wanting. They're wanting her to be a support. I mean, it can happen if they buff the hell out of her. It could happen. I don't think it should happen. I mean, again, once she's a 4-star and she's a DPS for God's sakes, but it absolutely could happen. Maybe I should have done the MP game buff. It worked out. It doesn't matter how much art up you get though from 1 to 10, it matters how much art up you get period and how many turns it lasts. It's totally a useful buff. There's a lot of servants that don't actually see a lot of gain from rank to rank, and yet they're still broken as fuck. I mean, for God's sakes, Ushi doesn't get that much from rank to rank. But look at where we're at, right? It doesn't really matter. Helena is a lolly because the original designer for Helena made her like a more adult military look, right? And then the Type Moon was like, no, we make her a lolly. So that's the entire reason why. There's no like greater reasoning beyond that. Do I MP here? Maybe I MP with 1. Yeah, I MP with the back one. Wish we had gotten the art up. Yeah, from what I've seen, universally people like the other Helena more. And I'm in the same camp because she looks more serious and she's an adult. And she's green, so it works for me. But, yeah, we're never getting that, by the way. Damn it. If only we landed that other crit.
いい時代だ。資料集めには事欠かん。損なうたびに思い出すがいい。メルヘン・マイネス・レーベンス。
This is a really nice background. Like the stage art on this one is awesome. It's one of my favorites. And the CGI doesn't stand out too much. Sometimes it stands out like so much, but it really doesn't here. Like this really is an awesome bit of background. It's a shame that you see it so rarely because it's great. How do I want to do this here? What's the I'll just do it like this. Get the other 100 base, we'll just see if we can loop the middle one. All of the buffs. More!
女神の加護が宿るものさ。
I could have done the Archchain though, then the other one could have impeded next turn. Dude, they'd make Baba Yaga a young girl or a sexy witch or whatever. They're totally gonna do that. Can't have classical take, especially for females. Like they just, for guys, they're okay with making like, you know, a variety and stuff. But if it's got tits, they just gotta, you know. And here's the thing: it's not a crime. It's okay. You know, having some eye candy is fine, and you have plenty of that for the guys too. It's not an issue, right? I'm not offended or insulted by that. But it doesn't have to be every character, for God's sakes. Like Jesus. Like it's okay if you have like a more classical take on a witch here. I'll just be happy if they do Baba Yaga and she's any kind of take on a classical witch. You know, if they want to make her sexy, fine. But for the love of God, you know, don't go like lolly or robot or alien or, you know, don't do that shit, right? None of that nonsense. Man, we're using 100 spaces too much. There's so much rider nonsense going on right now. It's because of the pirates and the dragons. Oh shit, we didn't kill. I guess the other 100 face didn't have a lot of buffs there. We didn't have the attack up anymore. Still, that kind of sad. Not, by the way, not that I have anything against them adding more robots to FGO, it's just stop doing it with things that aren't applicable. I mean, a lot of the stories with Baba Yaga are like, you know, pretty monstrous, right? And that's like a lot of the fun of it, so... If anything, go more ham on that. More writers, Jesus. Yeah, Galatea is fine. That was one of the more sensible takes. If you're gonna take history and animeify it, that's fine. That's doing the mecha thing with a literal statue, because it's not like she was a person that had a famous statue built, you know, for her. That's not how it is at all. So you know, she was a fictional thing then. Thankfully, Dino Mom got good ascension stages, so you can see a dinosaur. So that's good ascension stages can fix basically everything. When you got that character, we're like, oh, but we want to get that fan service buck, right? Then you know, you can do like with Mordred, right? She has her third stage, and you have the other two stages, right? Like, that's fine. Like with Romulus, if you want the more classical take, you have it. But if you want the more over-the-top extreme one, you have that too, right? It's just that takes more work. That's the whole reason. They're fine with double dipping. They don't got a problem. If they can triple dip on the Ascension art and appeal to 3 different crowds, they're totally okay with doing this. The problem is, yes, this is Kirby music, but anyway, the problem is it takes more time, effort, and, you know, resource to put that kind of effort into
servants, and sometimes they have to make more animations for them too, so that's why it doesn't happen too much. No, I probably should have just Hans MP'd, because he could totally die here. Made all those stars, then she drains them, although she didn't drain that many.
脱行すなわち解放の時
Trying to get NP gain on the back.
いい時代だ資料集めには事欠かん損なうたびに思い出すがいいメルヘン・マイネス・レーベンス
お命ちょうだい
Oh no, I don't like her. I don't like her NP either. I don't like it at all. It's so lazy. I really dislike that NP, honestly. And the reason is because, okay, I would not mind that NP if it was for one of her ascension stages, right? Like if her third stage used it, I wouldn't mind it so much. Why I dislike it? It is just it is so obvious, right? It is so like fourth wall breaking obvious that it's like they didn't want to make 2 different NP animations for her based on if she's dino form or not. It is so obvious that's why they did it, because they made her NP use all 3 of her stages no matter what stage she is in. Now you could do that in a way that could actually be pretty interesting and not lazy. Like you could make it so if you start in stage 1, like if you have Dino Mom in stage 1, the NP starts in stage 1 and then transforms into like the other stages. And then if she's in stage 3, she starts in stage 3 and then ends up transforming it. Like you change the order and the choreography. That'd be pretty neat. But it's just so lazy that it's like the exact same order. It's like, oh yeah, the exact same NP animation will play no matter what form you're in, because we designed it so it fits with any of them no matter what. That's just, it just feels really forced. And when you're in dino form, you want to chop chop nom nom, right? So like, for example, if they made it so her stage 1 was, they had an NP animation that was, you know, just dinosaur doing dinosaur things, and then her stage 3 was using all of the forms, that wouldn't bother me so much. The fact that it's for all of her forms is just so contrived, and it's just them copping out super hard, and it doesn't even look that good to me. I mean, it looks okay, but yeah, I would have much preferred like the forms get to be unique. You know, like if you want to focus on like the all the fancy stuff that you with her third form and her NP, that's fine, that's totally fine. But then do that. Yeah, that's definitely not a high NP on my list. It was very disappointing to me, honestly. Because literally the first time I watched it, I'm like, that was just an excuse. It was just obvious that's like, yeah, we made an NP animation that would work when we don't know what stage you're in. Like, it's so obvious, so we didn't have to make another one. Like, it just reeks of that. And I just don't think the choreography is that good, and you know, the reasons for the transforming don't even make sense. She's not doing things that like make sense to like do more damage or anything. It's just like, yeah, we're just kind of shoehorning every stage in here. That being said, overall I still like Dino Mom as a unit, but okay, let's see, what am I doing here? I don't know why they didn't make this a costume at some point. I guess from what I understand, she's not that popular in Japan, and you know, they don't have like voice lines for like when you click a card and we select the NP. They only have voice lines for like, you know, attacking and being attacked and that kind of thing. You know, the AI specific stuff. So they probably just didn't want to bother. But maybe they'll do it someday if Drake's ever relevant again in a story and they think they can use it. Because there's been costumes that they just didn't give us until there was a reason for them to be relevant again. Like UHZ's costume didn't get added, you know, for so long until MHX was like a thing again. So yeah, sometimes we're just waiting for the right moment, and sometimes the right moment just never comes. So people want to forget Agartha. I mean, fair enough. But I try not to hold everything against Agartha just because it happened to be in Agartha. Like, even, like, Fitcaster, I'm not a huge fan of, but, you know, she was written pretty badly in Agartha, and I really didn't like her, but she is absolutely written better outside of Agartha, and a more human character, not so one-dimensional and stupid. You know, and that's pretty much true for everything in Agartha, so I try not to hold it against her because it happened to debut in Agartha. Because honestly, Pint is pretty lame in Agartha for the most part. She at least has some rage out moments, but she's pretty two-dimensional, not really true to her character. She's way better in like her interlude and her My Room lines and all that kind of stuff. Way better character. Where if I just saw Pint from what she was on Agartha, I wouldn't like her at all, really. I mean, I still like the fact that she has maces and is screaming and all that, but really not a good character in Agartha. But yeah, I have seen a lot of people just wanted to get away from Agartha because it was just so... I can't... It was... Man, I tell you, it was not what I was expecting. I knew a lot of people didn't like it, but there's just so much exposition and just such sloppy writing and it's just such a mess. Hey, Arjuna. 5K. Now we're look at all this damage we're wasting. The only good thing about that is we got overkill, but we didn't really need overkill, so... Also, we didn't have our skills up, so... Would have looped otherwise. Yeah, some of the fights in Agartha are pretty cool. The Megalodes Columbus fight's really good. The Ruler fight's pretty tough. I don't really remember the pin fight, but I remember it being decent, so... A lot of filler, though. I'm already feeling that compared to Epic Remnant 1. Way more filler here. There's just way too much exposition. Agartha. Out of all the stories, that was not the one that I would expect to have a huge exposition problem, but it had a huge exposition problem, and they just repeated the same things over and over again. Megalos is quite something. It didn't have to be obvious, though, that Columbus was going to betray us. The way they wrote it, though, they made it obvious, which was kind of dumb. They didn't trust you to, you know, just go through the story and, you know, see it as it goes and put things together yourself. Way too on the nose. That's a real problem in FGO sometimes. The different writers definitely vary. More writer stuff! Anyway, yeah, the different writers definitely vary in quality and also just the time that they're given. Like, you know, sometimes they have to make the stories on really quickly and whatnot, or their heart's just not in it. They're maybe interested in other projects. A lot of the writers don't work for FGO specifically. Fighting her again, okay. Because this looks like a more proper boss fight, though, I should have made my back row less terrible. Are we looping? I feel like the music is looping. Get some Mordred music in here. Can we get a 3-star version of Mordred so I can actually use it on this account? Gonna feel really stupid if Hans gets one turn here. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I thought was going to be the problem with the sexual content, which that's not really the problem. It's how it's done and just how bad everything is that isn't the sexual content, right? Like, dude, I could not believe how much exposition dumping there was, all like the technical jargon bullshit they're pulling out of their ass. I was just like, this is not what I thought this was going to be. And then it's like so one-dimensional, right? When the more sexual stuff is so one-dimensional and it's just so bad, right? Like, not everything needs to be a masterpiece, right? It's not like every story needs to be some deep, insightful look at your like human condition and human relations and blah. You know, you can have your fan servicey, for funsies, over the top stuff or fetishy stuff or what. I don't care. It's fine. There's room for not everything needs to be like Fate Zero or whatever, right? Like that's totally fine. But they didn't what would have made more sense would to just, you know, have fun with it, right? They didn't do that, right? It's just this long, like, just, oh man, can you believe Kid Fergus grows up to be Fergus? And how many times are we gonna explain about, you know, the technical, you know, side of the, it's just, holy shit. And then again, it's just so one-dimensional. You know, it's so one-dimensional. It was so boring. Oh my god, Agartha just sucks, dude. Like, such a bad story. I'll give it this. At least it's not as bad as Septum. Okay, I can actually say that it's definitely not as bad as Septum. But that's about all I can say for. And Megalos and Columbus are cool. And that there was some cool stuff with that. But yeah, other than that, it's just such a waste of fucking space, dude.
いい時代だ。資料集めには事欠かん。
I know Fergus is literally, oh, I don't want to hit women. I practice every day, and then everyone else saying, oh, can you believe he grows up to be Fergus? It was just that over and over again. Shimosa is mixed. There's parts of it that I like. There's parts of it that I really like, but it's got a lot of like, so it's. I don't know, it's mixed for me. I'm a little biased though, because I don't normally like the weeb setting as much. You know, not quite my cup of tea there. Let's see, hold up. Don't really need to art chain, but it's probably not a bad idea. I want to make stars. Nope, I actually don't want to make stars, because we can use Mozart if we want to. But like, you know, the Totoro was awesome, and now, you know, the build up to that was fun. You know, there's definitely some cool fights, and, you know, it kind of builds into the Lost Belts later. But there's some boring, definitely some boring bits and dumb bits, and parts that aren't even believable, and there's a lot of exposition as well. FGO really does have an exposition problem. I think Lost Belt 1 was one of their better stories for not just vomiting exposition all the time, and the things actually made sense and whatnot. I really did. Lost Belt 1 was good, man. I really dig Lost Belt 1. That was some good. Do I want to do Stargin on somebody? Probably the 100 face that would go second. Let's see what buffs we get. I would whiff the evade buff though. I don't really care. That's not that big of a deal. I should probably hold on to it. Oh, I could bring a no start right now. Okay, I'm gonna hold his evade, but I am gonna put in Mozart. And then maybe we just use his evade later. Because Mozart's gonna die, let's be real. If Mozart can live one turn. Yeah, Epic of Remnant 1 is a bit mixed for me. There are some parts I really do like. The big final showdown with Moriarty is good. Lobo's pretty cool. The fights are good. I think Nan and Yan, although he wasn't, you know, too fleshed out there, but it's alright. I don't mind it, but it does have some filler nonsense and definitely exposition stuff. And I would have liked to fight some sleeves. I don't, because lol my gameplay. But it's okay. I don't hate it by any means. Most of the Lost Belts are pretty good. Lost Belt 3 though, man, I did not like Lost Belt 3. And the ending is so rushed. Oh my god, it's like they ran out of time. Like, oh no, we gotta finish it real fast, right? It's just, the ending is just like blah, 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 blah. It's just, they just like blitz through everything real fast all of a sudden. And I didn't like the, there's a god, and so many characters just didn't get like proper screen time. You know, Mordred's just there for the lulz, and it's just such a waste of a character there. It's awful. It just didn't have an awesome antagonistic presence. Really don't like there's a few things in Lost Belt 3 that are cool. So, and like, I feel like some of the ideals that they wanted to cover with it, and like, you know, like with the philosophy and stuff, they were just like chicken shits, and they didn't want to actually explore it. Instead of really digging into it, right? And it just, God, the use of the cast was so bad in Lost Belt 3. Like, it was atrocious, and like Mordred should not even been in it if they were going to use her like that. And yeah, the ending is just so rushed. But I still don't hate it. It was just compared, basically, if I look at Lost Belt 3 and I compare it to like, you know, Septum and London and, you know, the early stuff, Lost Belt 3 is way better. And it's better than Agartha, right? It's much better than that kind of stuff. But when I compare it to Lost Belt 1 and Lost Belt 5 and stuff, you know, much harder sell than, and it just does not keep up with the other Lost Belts. It's very, very behind. Why didn't I use the... Well, we didn't need the attack up before. It's fine. I mean, we broke, so... Clearly not a problem. I just used Mozart's skill to make 20 stars. Because we already had so many stars. So, Lost Belt 2, there are certain parts of it that I really like, and I actually think are really good in that, like, they build on the overarching story of the Lost Belts, like with, you know, the cryptors and everything. So parts of it, and I like the idea, I love the idea of a North setting, they just didn't use it. They completely wasted the North setting, and that was like kind of a travesty there. You know what, I actually should have stunned here. It's not gonna matter. She's going to die. Yeah, I'm gonna do I NP a 10k enemy? No, that's just silly. We don't do that. But yeah, they completely wasted the potential of a Norse singularity. But I still liked some of the story stuff. I still liked Napoleon and Sigurd and what little they did flesh out from the Norse mythology. I was happy with. Surtur was, you know, fitting for what he's based on for the most part. So I don't mind Lost Belt 2. It's just it's hard not to shed a tear at just how much wasted potential it was. And Ophelia is definitely not my favorite character, although you know that's pretty subjective and whatnot. But it is. I like it a little bit more than Lost Belt 3 though. I definitely like it more than Lost Belt 3, but it's right after. Like it's definitely good. Lost Belt 1 and 5 right now really take it for me. Normally you would think with how much I praise Lost Belt 5, I would say Lost Belt 5 is my favorite, but in terms of pure story, Lost Belt 1 might be my favorite. It's close, especially because like Lost Belt 1 is just smooth, man, because first off, you've got the prologue, which doesn't have filler in it. The prologue is pretty boom, 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 right? Because it wasn't a full story, it was kind of a hype thing, but it sets up important, you know, the prologue to Lost Belt is not boring, right? It's a story. Things are happening. People die. Important characters die, and important characters are revealed. And it sets up, you know, kind of like, you know, what's her name? Why am I forgetting her name? Anastasia. Excuse me. It sets up Anastasia as an antagonist and everything, and that's flushed out then in Lost Belt 1. You roll right into it, right? And then Lost Belt 1 had totally fine pacing. It did not have. It had some exposition dumps, but it wasn't that bad. You know, they actually did some showing instead of telling. People's abilities play out in a logical way, like who beats who makes complete sense. They did better with the VC Brawn than the fucking anime did, and they didn't just make shit up for a VC Brawn. They literally expanded on what was there in the books, right? It's not there in the anime, but like all the stuff with the VC Brawn's character in the books, they expanded on in a logical way. That was great. You know, Ivan was cool. Ivan was probably the one thing that was disappointing. He got very little screen time. He was just, oh, I'm asleep. Oh, I'm awake. Oh, I lost. You know, but at least he, you know, had, you know, good voice actor, and you know, when he was, for the short time he was there, he was, you know, pretty awesome. But yeah, Ivan did kind of get the short end of the stick there, which was kind of lame. But that's like the only knock I have. But yeah, good pacing. You know, and it leads into the rest of the Lost Belt stuff, and it didn't feel like episodic because of the prologue and what it does build on with the other stuff. Some of the other Lost Belts do feel a bit episodic though, definitely. But so yeah, I would say, I don't know though, 5's awesome though, because 5 takes a lot of stuff that you've learned from the past and you expand on it and they've been building up Wadim and Canis a lot throughout the other stories, and kind of finally seeing exactly what's going on with them, and everything was really cool. And then just, you know, I love Greek mythology, and they didn't butcher it, so that was great. You know, the build up to Zeus is like the best they've ever done. The music's 10 out of 10. The gameplay's 10 out of 10. The gameplay's so good. It's actually kind of like, normally I'm not mentioning, you know, gameplay when I'm talking about story stuff here, but the gameplay was so good there, and it worked so well with everything else that, you know, I think it is worth mentioning. And then, you know, even though Chaos wasn't in a lot, it was used really well, actually. The Masashi stuff was kind of silly, but they did, you know, Chaos isn't defeated there or anything, and like the what. That was just really cool. Like out of nowhere, you kind of have an enemy that is kind of clearly stronger than even the alien god and everything at that point. That was really neat, and Chaos kind of deserved a shout out there. There's one enemy left. Still don't see the need to NP. But yeah, it's still pretty close though between Lost Belt 1 and Lost Belt 5. I think I do give a slight nod to Lost Belt 5 just because Wadim is such a... Oh, I loved Wadim, he was great. And Zeus and everything. So probably Lost Belt 5, and then Lost Belt 1, and then Lost Belt 4. And then a pretty big big gap between that and then Lost Belt 3, or Lost Belt 2 and then 3. And 5.5 was eh. Now that I've seen better translations of it, some of the stuff I thought was really stupid isn't actually as stupid as I thought, so that helps, because there was some stuff I thought was really dumb in Lost Belt 5.5, but thankfully that cleared up with better translations. It's fairly fillery. It didn't really deserve a full story. It would have been better as like a more like the prologue. It could have been summed up in a shorter, a lot of fluff work to make it longer, right? Limbo needed, they've been building up Limbo throughout all these other stories, and he was obviously up to something, and it connects to Shimosa and everything, like with his plan, and that's fine. But they made the whole ordeal a lot of extra bother that didn't really need to be there. And it was just kind of filler to just, make it a full story. It clearly should have been like a side story or a half a story or combined with another story at the same time. There's not enough there to make a full story, and so they made a lot of shit up to make it a full story, and it's very obvious. It's okay though. I mean, it focuses on a lot of characters and stuff I don't care about. Again, it's very much a side plot. It has nothing to do with the main stuff with the alien god and what the cryptors are going to do with Wadim dying, and there's nothing to do with any of that. It's kind of so it's not my favorite. It's okay though. I mean, but I wouldn't rate it super high. I think Masashi's going to come back in some way, or at least have her Saint Graph recovered, not necessarily have her come back fully, but there's just no way, like 3 years from now, Masashi's still going to be data lost. There's just no way. There's no chance of that. It's hard to say though if she'd come back in the Lost Belts or if she'd come back in an event, way after, or what. We'll see. It really depends on how they do it. We'll just have to see. A lot of potential though for it to be stupid. A lot of potential for it to be stupid. Well, they didn't really bring back Da Vinci. Da Vinci is still dead. Like, the Da Vinci you knew through all those experiences and stuff, she's dead, right? Like, she's very much a different Da Vinci that has the memories of the past one, but it's a different person, ultimately. If we could get regular male Masashi, though, that would be nice. I cannot summon myself. God damn it. Let me just summon, a level 100 face there. Okay, I think it's Babbage time. We're finally doing something more interesting. So far this has been pretty dull. And although we had kind of a real boss fight right there, it was kind of Snoresville. It really was not a difficult thing to deal with. The good news is, because this has been easier, we've been Ongra-ing it up. We are so far away, though, from Bon 10. I had just been bringing... I got Ongra, like, day one on this account. For all those... So many filler stages! From Fuyuki to, God knows where. It's just so much... And I didn't bring it for any of those. None of it. I never brought them, just because I didn't think about it. I brought George, though, and George has been Bon 10 for ages. That could have been Ongra, man. Interesting. 2 Buster cards.
It's not a bad time to crit.
メリーバッドエンドだな。どうとはこういうものだ。
If you had an art card, I'd be way more willing. No, I'm doing it. Agreed! And we don't have 30 stars because he's not rank 10. The next rank makes it 28, and the next rank adds 2 stars and makes it 30. Thought about saving Hans's art card to help with an art chain later, but if we get the attack up here, it'd be pretty
いい
nice.
時代だ。資料集めには事欠かん。損なうたびに思い出すがいい。メルヘン・マイネス・レーベンス。
What were you all talking about? For what you're talking about classes, but I have no idea what character is being discussed here. Okay, well, we got our art chain here. Do I want to crit with art cards? Make way less stars than him. He's rank 4, but oh, Rasputin. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. It's hard to say because, like, a lot of them are, actually all of them, the original class isn't alter ego, but they're alter ego because of the alien god. But they haven't been consistent with how they handle that. So, like, Tam is probably going to be assassin because in the trailer they showed her as assassin, because that's her original class. But with Dorman, his original class is caster, but we got alter ego. So, you know, they kind of just do whatever they want, so we'll just have to see. Should have brought another unit to buff. Whoops! You don't know what I clicked that for. I'm not gonna MP on Medea just yet. We'll use it for the other guy. I wish Lost Belt 6 was soon. So much hype around that one. So I'm really worried it's gonna drop the ball, but we'll see. Too late, we already NP'd, you big dummies. Maybe I should have roll breakered there just to be safe. And that was not a crit. And that was not a crit. God damn it. Dice rolls are bullshit. Well, this is not working out as I had intended. Don't worry though, Medea's got double defense down on the enemy from Babbage to help her MP damage. She's 25% MP damage up from her CE and she did 59. Actually better than one might think. That shows how bad. 25% from the CE and then double defense down from that. And that's it. At least she killed it though. Get that big attack up to deal with 2k health. So later. Oh man, Medea getting double bond. Look out. And Angra doesn't get bond bonus for anything other than Epic Remnant 1, I think. See, it's caster in 4, it's night class in 3, it's female in 2, and they have evil in. Is there anybody that doesn't? There must be somebody out there that doesn't get a bonus in any. Let's see. It would be someone that's not a caster, that's male and not evil, and not a night class. So you'd have to be. Let's see. I guess you'd be like a rider,
male that's not evil. That's actually that's a decent amount of things. Yeah, I guess Hurt doesn't either. It's true. Yeah, Berserker's the same boat. Yeah, there's a lot of males. That's funny. The all females get at least one story to get double bond, where a lot of the guys don't. If you're a guy, you have to either be evil or a caster or a night class. That actually leaves out quite a bit. And it's really helpful, honestly, if you really like a character and you're trying to rush them to bond 10, picking, because you can do the Epic Remnant in any order you want, right? You just go to the one that gives them double bond, and maybe you bring stronger friend supports to make sure you beat all stages, and you always bring that unit in the back row or whatever. And it's quite a bit of bond. It definitely matters. I guess we're heading towards you. That's like the first real fight off memory. Guess same team, either that or I change Medea or Mozart. I guess I change Mozart out, and if I want to bring in a buffer I can, and if I want Rule Breaker I can do that too. What's the best general buffer we have for Buster? I guess Shakespeare's fine, although what's his skill rank? 5. Applies to both though. We have Chen Gong. That's only 1. Yeah, we'll do Shakespeare. Even though it was only rank 5, that's decent. I don't really need to do another Baba rant. I think I've explained that enough times. Well, I'll do a really fast rundown, right? Basically, dude used to work for Bamco on certain games in the Tales of series, only the shitty ones. He made some very bad business decisions that were universally hated and just scummy, just straight scummy. And then he left Bamco, he joined Square Enix, made a whole game division under Square Enix. There was so much drama behind the scenes that they never produced a single game, which is insanity. Any project they started working on never came to fruition. And then he left Square Enix and joined DW, and he's like the head dev apparently on their other mobile game, Soccer Awards, which just recently came out, and it's a complete shit show, and lots of people that work at DW have been leaking that they hate it, and that it's just terrible. It's run poorly, and most of the employees don't like him, and he's pulled resources off FGO, and that game's been a giant flop. So that's the quick rundown. And that's enough of that. One enemy of 500k. You want to get our NPs as fast as possible then, but we also want to crit. Definitely going to do this. I hate that my skill rates are so low. I make less stars, I have less star absorb. Killing me here. Link's got the arc. Crit. If he was 10-10-10, he would have had great crit chances there. He'd have more star absorb and then more stars. He's got 2 crits though. Oh, he didn't get the crit on the quick card, which is NP gain. I'm gonna stun the turn before I want to NP so nobody gets NP sealed. That would like piss me off. Could do that big crit, but I want to take the Arc Chain. Well, Arc Chain again next turn. That means Babbage in the back though is going to run out of his buffs before he can. Gonna stun here. Understand, someone really high up in DW is friends with him, and that's how he got hired. Honestly, the whole debacle at Square Enix should have ended his career. It's incredible that he's still in the industry, but oh well. Oh fuck, that's right, I could have used the battery. I wasn't even paying attention to that. Well, Babbage number 1 is missing most of his buffs, but he can at least give the defense down to the other Babbage. You know, I could have done the Star Gen up for Mozart just for the Star Gen because the hit count on Babbage is going to be decent, although only hitting one target. Well, I mean, Fergus is a very sensible Grail target, and he's actually pretty godly with Grail. He scales so well with Grail, because you get more turns to DBB, and you get more out of the defense up, you get more health, damage mitigation, and you have 2 defense ups. Both have 3 turns, and pretty decently short cooldown. He can solo the freaking Mason challenge quest. Takes a lot of RNG, and he needs a little help with some, like, you know, George Bonsi and stuff, but still, that's nuts. Gilius, though, good luck. Like, just good luck. You're gonna need it. You're absolutely gonna need some help with that part. Can't art chain. So proper Babbage at 10 to 10 and proper CE and everything can do so much crit damage that we could have, like, totally deleted this guy by now. Unfortunately, that is not what we're seeing here. Caster Gilius is close to being worth a damn. He's not quite there, but he is in the ballpark. Another buff that could, like, synergize with his previous buffs could result in him being pretty solid. Which would be nice, having a servant go from utter lameness into, hey, this is actually usable. Deck shuffles have not been kind to me. I should have done that the other way around. Man, he's gonna have a vague now. Bastard. Probably should not have done that though because of the burn. Yeah, that was probably not worth it. Not enough in the game to be worth it. I just threw a lot of damage away. Yeah, this turn would have been way better. Oh my god, this if I had saved his 3rd skill for this turn. Big Buster crit here. The attack up and... Oh my god, I threw the crit buff away! I forgot! Yeah, the crit buff is on the 3rd skill and only lasts 1 turn. Oh my god, I'm a dum-dum. Yeah, no, that was shit. That was so shit. Why did I think... Yeah, we got a little bit more NP gain on Babbage in the back, but... No world where that was worth it. And his 3rd skill's rank 8, so the crit up is, you know, big and it's a decent amount of stars, too. Well... We'll still win, but, that was not right. You know, when she gets to do a Brave Chain, it's not too bad. Because you have the extra attack and everything, it's okay. And obviously, you know, like Ushi or someone doing a Brave Chain would be better, but... like, bearable then. Man, the decks are just shuffling in the worst ways. I have to wait... They put all of Babbage's NP gain into the 3rd hand. God damn it, man. should have definitely won by now if I'd made better plays with like my crits and stuff. And then also just got better luck with the deck shuffles. Some of this is my fault though. I'm surprised it took this long though. It really messed this up. We fucking beat all those nasty assassin bosses in Shimosa, and we're struggling with this of all things. And look, the deck shuffles again and logs Babbage out of MP gain again. He has 2 art cards, which is plenty. But you know, people keep dying at like perfect intervals to prevent him from getting his art cards, and they keep going into the, you know, not the first hand and previously the third hand. Maybe they're in the second hand at least here. But it's kind of too late to matter. 1 and 1. God. I think Medea can just kill here. God, that was awful. That felt terrible.
Nani? 終わりか。これはこれで物足り
We didn't lose. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap up there. I know it's kind of short and we didn't get to any major bosses, but I need to eat dinner and then I want to play either Darkest Dungeon or Genshin Impact. I haven't done a bonus stream in a while just because I keep streaming kind of late. So I figure give myself some wiggle room here so I have time. And that means the next stream should be kind of, you know, actiony because we'll probably have Wu and Thick Caster, and that might be a tough fight. I don't know. It's an assassin, so you know, if it was literally any other class, I wouldn't be worried. But anytime we have to fight an assassin boss, it's always hard mode. So we may have to, you know, try a few times on that one. We'll see. But I'm gonna go eat, and then I'll be back with either Genshin Impact or Darkest Dungeon. I'm not sure. I might play Genshin just because I want to. I'm thinking about rolling for one more child, or until I hit the safety net. And if I don't get child, we'll just deal with it. And if I get child, great. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that or not. We'll see. But if I don't do that, I'll probably play Darkest Dungeon because I love me some Darkest Dungeon. Anyway, I'll be back. Blah blah blah. Peace.